have a feeling that we have some cards. Probably just a few. Just the simple cards over there.
Pop up the shelf?
What is that?
Greetings, fellow adventurers. This is Harper, and welcome to the third installment of the story of VenturianTale. We're currently at the end of the first quarter of 2014, and the gang just released 6 episodes of another Minecraft tale. But the 4 weren't just busy with that. There was more Left 4 Dead 2, as well as their V-Mail series, but they were really keeping up the Gmod experimentation, specifically Cops and Robbers, as well as roleplay. Something I really focused on with part 2 were the characters Johnny Ghost, Johnny Toast, and Jimmy Casket. When they were introduced, they were immediate fan favorites, and the VenturianTale crew typically gave the fans what they wanted. And so of course a new roleplay series was introduced, breathing new life and lore into the characters as we followed them through various paranormal investigations, which included the ghosts of many popular characters, with the first of these episodes centered around the haunting of fucking Ghost Luigi. But arguably the most important episode of this series features a character that we hadn't seen in a while, Cardboard Friend. You probably don't remember this character, as he was briefly featured back in my first episode of this series, but as a quick refresher, Cardboard Friend was an imaginary friend created by a boy named Gregory. As it turns out, Cardboard Friend was actually a ghost, and that drove Gregory to insanity, and later caused him to go missing. And at that point, that was all we had learned about Cardboard Friend, until the Paranormal Investigation series. Johnny Ghost, on a solo mission, investigates a home with moderate ghost activity, and this ghost turns out to be Cardboard Friend, which really bothers Johnny Ghost, as throughout the investigation, Cardboard Friend seems to recognize him, calling him Gregory over and over again, making him recoil as if he's holding back trauma. And after a while, the haunting really gets to him, as in an attempt to banish Cardboard Friend from the house, something slips.
Okay, you know what? I've had it with you! I want you out of this house now! Go back to whatever realm you came from! Get a stab! Ah!
And in this very same video, it is revealed that Johnny Ghost's real last name is Casket, and all of a sudden, Gmod crashes, with Jordan ending off the video, basically telling fans to connect the dots.
Anyone watching, it's up to you guys to find out what this story was and what's going on and know how it ended.
So with this one video, we now know that the child Gregory grew up to be the murderous psychopath known as Jimmy Casket, whom, with all of his bottled up trauma, created Johnny Ghost. Sorry about the lore dump there, but I just wanted to give you an example of what kind of characters the VenturianTale crew would come up with most of those characters being complete accidents. There was never a single character that the fans would just ignore, and with the mountains of fan art and fanfictions the fans would create, the crew themselves were always willing to give more. And even 3 episodes into this series, I've overlooked a lot for the sake of brevity, but to really put it in perspective to how much people cared about these characters, take a look at an episode of their fan mail series, something I haven't even scratched the surface of here. Or you can dive into the obscure, and take a look at the fan-made Sims series, which was enjoyed by a handful of fans. And don't even get me started on the Amino. I sound like a broken record at this point, but I really can't stress enough just how effective the VenturianTale crew's chemistry was, especially when developing stories. They did it all, albeit in the most silly way possible. Speaking of the siblings creating silly stories, let's jump to where we left off with another Minecraft tale. After building a golden flower sanctuary, Jordan takes the gang on an adventure, slaying all red flowers in their path. But of course, what comes around goes around. Barely 3 minutes into their adventure, most of the siblings die, but this doesn't stop them, so they press on and cross an ocean. They're in search of a golden city, but instead they find a really small island, and all seemed pretty chill, until Sierra started populating the island with red flowers and pigs, two of Jordan's worst enemies.
I hereby dub this Satan's Island.
After they leave Satan's Island, they come across a new one that houses the queen of the golden flowers, and after picking her, they set sail yet again, and this time find a new continent, where they build a new house made of dirt, but it isn't very long until they build a new one made of glass and over a lava pit, and it goes pretty well actually. Of course they die a lot, but that happens anyway, and just as soon as they were getting settled into their new home, Isaac engages in eco-terrorism, and floods their surroundings with lava and water, forcing the gang to move yet again. They set their new spot on the top of a mountain, and they actually stay here for a bit.
I didn't think this would happen. He's coming! He's coming!
Well, for a few episodes, until they move back to their very first house. While trying to light a nether portal, Jordan attempts to fend off some enemies with the flint and steel, and seemingly deliberately sets the house ablaze. And after they watch the ashes fall, after 20 episodes, they finally go to the nether. And after 5 minutes of walking around, they finally leave the nether. Throughout the series, they have switched between survival and creative a lot, but for the next few episodes, they stick to creative and just build random stuff. This includes a roller coaster, a parkour course, and Elsa's castle. Side tangent. At this point in VenturianTale history, they were obsessed with Frozen. Now, I haven't shown much of that obsession, but rewatching all of these videos, it is so hard not to mention it. So if you recall in episode 1, I mentioned that VenturianTale had a sea of Elsagate-style videos. That sort of begins now, and though none of it is intentional, and nowhere near the absurd predatory nature of Elsagate, it is still worth mentioning, as future videos are hard to explain otherwise. Anyways, he turns the Elsa castle into a Koopa. Alright, so it's been a few episodes after building, they decide to switch to survival mode, where they wander off in a different direction and die.
I bet right now the people watching this video are like, ah!
Then it's back to building and creative, this time like a game like Pictionary. And directly after that, they completely ditch the survival world and check out a Frozen map while still calling it another Minecraft tale. But not to worry, because they switch back to the survival world in the next episode, the 30th episode in fact, and it's just like a normal episode, where they play the building game again, and they'd end the episode like normal.
And we'll see you next time.
And that was the final episode of another Minecraft tale. Yeah, it's pretty lackluster, and it seems like by the end of it they were just really bored. Overall pretty aimless, which was a kind of new thing to the Tale series. Everything so far felt like it had some kind of narrative, but not this. And there were some things that I didn't mention, such as Cosmic High School, and that does bleed into the Gmod content a bit, but it didn't really add much at all. And for this video, as I finished another Minecraft tale, I wasn't really motivated to go ahead with a Fallout tale. But I'm glad I did, because at the moment, and back then, a Fallout tale was a sort of palate cleanser. Yes, it was hectic like the rest of the content, but it was more grounded. Just like a Skyrim tale, there's a story, and I'm going to tell you that story. The whole thing. So I'll just begin where we left off from the last episode, and in case you forgot, here's a recap. The year is 2277. It's been 200 years since the bombs fell onto Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area, and what cozily rests at the heart of the capital wasteland is a nuclear fallout shelter, Vault 101. And what emerges from the vault is an older gentleman with his eyes wide open to the future. And shortly after, his daughter leaves the vault in search of him. She has no idea why he left or what he's after, nor does she have any idea of what's even out there. She presses on and accepts the challenge, because the little guy in the corner persuaded her to do so. Her name is Siren Castor. She's a computer nerd with a heart of gold, and this is how she braves the wasteland. Luckily for Siren, civilization isn't too far from the vault, so she limps her way over to the town of Megaton, which surrounds an undetonated nuclear bomb. Despite this and the radiation sickness, the town is pretty fine, and even has its own sheriff too. The sheriff hasn't seen Siren's father, but directs her to the saloon where she might find answers.
What is that thing?
Hey, Smoothskin, do you need something? A drink, maybe? Anything? Anything at all?
Go! What are you?
she gets a bit sidetracked by an ominous man who just casually asks her to detonate the bomb in the center of town. She immediately reports this to the sheriff, and after confronting the man, the sheriff is shot down by him, and then Siren immediately avenges him. After failing to notify the sheriff's family, Siren ventures into the wasteland and comes across a settlement known as Big Town, where she finds an injured young man named Time Bomb, who she saves by using her medical knowledge to perform a quick surgery. It turns out to be successful, and begins to recover from his wounds. Exploring the wasteland a bit more, and one fan challenges episode later, Siren adopts a dog, whom she names Quasar, and utilizes him as a proper companion. After this, Jordan realized that the plot needed to advance, and so goes back to Megaton in search of more clues regarding the whereabouts of Siren's father. She gets pretty direct answers, and is instructed to go to the Galaxy News radio station located in the heart of the DC ruins. Jordan doesn't do this. Instead, as a slight detour, Siren goes on a rescue mission for Big Town, and brings home hostages from a super mutant base. After saving the town, Siren recruits Time Bomb as a companion. Heading back to Megaton once more, Siren disarms the bomb in the middle of town, and is rewarded with a house. With this, and Time Bomb and Quasar by her side, she finally plunges into the DC ruins, hoping to find some information about her father.
Been drowned.
And after wandering around a bit, she stumbles into the Jefferson Memorial, which has been fitted with a huge water tank and some strange doohickeys. Among the clutter, she finds a journal entry left by her father, which explains that he's holed up at Vault 112, and is aiding with some kind of experiment. Upon accessing the vault, she finds all of the residents resting in some hibernation pods. Stepping into an empty pod herself, she enters a simulated reality where everything seems perfect. Shockingly, it turns out to be just an experiment set up by a mad scientist to toy with the residents for his amusement. This doesn't go over well for him, because Siren being Siren, she finds a way to activate a failsafe, and escapes the simulation. However, only her and another subject made it out alive, this other person being her father. Now reunited, the two head for the Jefferson Memorial, and her father explains that he'd been working on something called Project Purity, a plan to convert the monument into a source of fresh and purified water, available to everyone for free. Realistically, the government known as the Enclave intervenes, and kills Siren's father. But I'm sorry, there's no time to grieve as the Enclave is hot on her tail. Escaping through a sewer system, she finds herself at the doorstep of an opposing faction of the Enclave, known as the Brotherhood of Steel. She's introduced to a young woman named Sarah Lyons, who Siren quickly recruits as a new companion. After the Brotherhood takes her in, she is told to search their archives to locate another vault with the right technology to save Project Purity. With this, she locates Vault 87 and finds that it's overrun with super mutants. One in particular, whom Siren names Copper, actually helps her locate this technology. And when she acquires it, she is kidnapped by the Enclave. But no worries, she easily escapes and convinces the President of the United States, whom is an AI, to self-destruct himself as well as the base, just in the nick of time for Siren to escape, and flee to salvage Project Purity. There's only one thing left for Siren to do, and that's to take out the remaining Enclave surrounding the project. With the Brotherhood of Steel, she easily does this, and finishes what her father started, bringing clean and purified water to those who need it. That was 37 episodes of a Fallout tale, and with the main quest complete, where else can we go but up? Literally, because Siren gets abducted by aliens. Very hostile aliens. So she explores the spaceship, killing a bunch of little green men, and steals their gear. By the end of it, she gets caught in an intergalactic war, and is beamed back to the wasteland. And just as you thought we would be finished with intergalactic stuff, Jordan installs a mod that adds a familiar blue box, known as the TARDIS. If you recall from a Skyrim tale, Vale used this box herself, using it to travel wherever she wanted, and now it's in the hands of Siren. After Jordan installs a few more mods, Siren takes a boat to a new place, Point Lookout, for a rescue mission.
Whoa. Everything's gotten all twangy up in here.
Once acquainted with the locals, Siren tracks down the missing person and finds out that they're in a cult where you have to be lobotomized to join. So, Siren gets lobotomized just for a chance to speak with this person. Despite her efforts, Siren was unable to convince them to come back. So Jordan completes the main quest of Point Lookout, and tackles the next piece of DLC for Fallout 3, Operation Anchorage, which is just a combat simulation, pretty soon after. Since Jordan's on a roll with completing the DLC, Siren steps into a wasted Pittsburgh, known as the Pit, to free some slaves. And upon doing so, we finally reach the 100th episode of a Fallout tale. Now I'm going to stop right here and reflect a bit. I can't express how much I've cut out. I explained the main quest in length, sure, but I would highly recommend you watch this series yourself. Chances are that if you're watching this video, then you probably are or were a fan of VenturianTale at some point, and I feel like this series is a really good jumping on point, even if you've already seen it. I think it's definitely worth a shot. My brief summaries do not give it justice at all, and that goes for every Tale series. Alright, with that being said, let's get on with the last 100 episodes of a Fallout tale. Well, not quite actually. A lot of what happens between episode 100 and episode 130 is just exploration, as Jordan had kinda exhausted the game a bit. Due to this and some technical limitations, Jordan uploaded an update video, where he explains that he could no longer play Fallout 3 without starting a new save, and at that point it would be like playing a new game entirely. Luckily for him, and the fans, a Fallout tale would be reborn. This meant saying goodbye to Fallout 3 forever, and saying hello to Fallout New Vegas. Another Fallout tale begins with a time jump, and Siren finds herself in the middle of the Mojave Wasteland. And after a bit of exploring and side questing, Siren acquires Time Bomb and a new companion, Veronica, and begin the main quest. While transporting an item known as the Platinum Chip, Siren was ambushed and it was stolen from her, and now she must look for this man in the checkered suit. It turns out he runs a casino in New Vegas, so she easily finds him there. After confronting the man, named Benny, she gets ambushed, and that gives him time to escape. While on the search for Benny, Siren is interrupted by an ambassador of the Legion, a savage faction ruled by a man essentially role-playing as Julius Caesar. Caesar has caught wind of her and her actions and formally invites her to his base. This base is apparently where Benny fled, giving her more incentive to accept the invitation. Holding back on the revenge, Siren decides to search Benny's room for anything important, and what she ends up finding is a hyper-intelligent robot specifically designed with the inability to say no to anything. This robot's name is Yes Man, and realizing the potential of Yes Man, Siren wants to utilize his robot connection to make the Vegas Strip and all of the surrounding area a safer place for all. But to do this, she needs one piece of technology, the very same that Benny stole from her, the Platinum Chip. And now realizing that it's in the hands of Caesar, she has no choice but to pay him a visit. Reaching the camp, Siren finds a captive Benny, and right next to him, Caesar himself, whom asks for Siren's help in exchange for revenge on Benny. Siren refuses, and shows Benny some mercy by helping him escape. Because of this, Siren becomes an enemy to the Legion, but at least she gets out with the Platinum Chip. Now her plan is in motion, and she's able to take down all the corrupt forces that stand in her way. To her, the big enemy is the Legion, as every faction at this point has agreed to help her. And in a battle to conquer Hoover Dam, Siren tears through the Legion and is able to secure Hoover Dam easily, bringing an end to the main quest. Jordan uploads the 70th episode of another Fallout tale, but instead he calls it episode 200. He does a lot of fan challenges, reminiscing, and he even showcases videos of fans expressing their love for the series. With a final word of admiration, Jordan leaves Siren's story up in the air for the fans to decide, and a Fallout tale is officially over. Alright, that was 200 episodes of a Fallout tale. Of course, and as always, I've left out a lot, but I'll save the more in-depth analysis for maybe a future series or video. For now though, let's get caught up with the rest of the channel's antics. On July 21st of 2014, the channel reached 1 million subscribers, and the siblings altogether hosted a livestream on the VenturianTale Twitch channel. A little bit after, on August 11th, a very different kind of video was uploaded. It was the beginning of a new series, a quote, Gmod animated series titled Chaos. Yes, it's spelt like that. This featured the siblings as well as a few collaborators who were friends as well as popular members of the community. It didn't last for very long, however, with only 3 episodes being released, as well as a couple pieces of its OST composed by Jordan himself. Despite its quality, it oozed passion and charm. It was clear the crew did enjoy making videos like this, but it definitely did seem like a prototype to sort of test the waters for this new format of storytelling. And sparsely throughout the year, this format would be used for various roleplay videos, but mostly used for one-offs with significantly less effort. Now, something special happened in August of 2014, and that's when the game Five Nights at Freddy's really took off. And no, I'm not going to explain Five Nights at Freddy's. And so, with this popularity, it seemed inevitable that the VenturianTale crew would have some interaction with it. It's October 3rd, 2014. In each comment section of each new VenturianTale video, there were hundreds of thousands of demands to play it. And on this day, those demands were met. With a Gmod showcase. They do this 2 more times before actually playing the game, just 7 days later. And I really can't describe how hyped up this was. So hyped up, in fact, that they even had their own intro for this one. I mean, it's just the actual intro, but with a little bit of a creep factor. But still, the fans enjoyed it. And with all those views coming in, VenturianTale sure liked it too, with each FNAF video at the time receiving 1 million views per. And I think it's safe to say that they were definitely milking it. But there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone was happy. For the rest of 2014 and on to 2015, Five Nights at Freddy's was around every corner of the VenturianTale channel, even spawning a fan game developed by Isaac himself. From this point onward, nearly every other video was Five Nights at Freddy's related, and that's the way things were for a while, at least until after the 2-year anniversary, when things drastically changed. Videos started to cater to trends, and the overall feel of the channel became more and more confused. The most noticeable aspects were inconsistent thumbnails and inconsistent games. This was one of the more experimental eras in VenturianTale's history, and the same could be said about the lore. Aside from one-off videos, gathering lore between the various roleplays was very difficult, because in retrospect, it seemed like they focused on crazier concepts and bizarre one-off characters rather than develop their already established characters. Now, I'm not saying they didn't have any story, but it seems like they were going for what was popular more often than not. Despite this, support for the VenturianTale team had never been higher, and a little over a year after hitting 1 million subscribers, they gained another million. On September 5th, 2015, their 2 million subscriber special was uploaded, and it was a 2-hour-long Q&A video. The rest of 2015 played out exactly how it began, and it seemed like reaching a definitive style of upload never came to be. And for most of the year, there hadn't been a new Tales series since a Fallout tale ended in March. And so, on December 15th, a mini Minecraft tale was born.
Greetings, fellow adventurers.
And Jordan explains that a mini Minecraft tale was just to whet the appetite of the fanbase, as he had plans to start a whole new tale series. But more on that in the next video. 2014 and 2015 went by in a flash. It was near the end of 2014 when things started to just blend together, and 2015 was just hard to piece together. Things were changing, both on the YouTube landscape as well as their own community. With the influx of brand new viewers, the gang tried their best to adapt, and it brought us the most hectic year so far. The only question is, will 2016 be the same? I mean, that time is long gone and we all know the answer to it, but I will explore it soon enough. But for now, that is all for this time. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the story of VenturianTale, leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you next time.